deep in the human unconscious.
Sean Delancey, 13 Action News.
Is a pervasive need for a logical universe that makes sense.
But the real universe is always one step beyond logic.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ian here today, live from the planet Arrakis, to present to you guys the Dune Course.
Hurry. All I see is darkness.
This course will remain free forever because the wisdom within Dune can change the world. But first, we need to be able to sit and contemplate and let that growth manifest within us before we can share it with others. And that's what this course is going to do. Of course, I am going to cover the basics of Dune, but we are also going to look at Dune from 5 critical lenses: the spiritual ecology, the philosophy, the psychology, the occult, and the politics of Dune. All of those lenses, plus the basic tracking of what the hell is going on in each chapter. We are going to cover chapter by chapter, book by book, the whole Dune series by Frank Herbert. But that's not the end. I am going to be reviewing, editing, and commenting on all of your essays that you are going to submit for free, because I want you, yes, you, that beautiful reader and writer listening right now, to present to the world more content about Dune. I want to get us off of Reddit and out of our fading memory, if you are just reading Dune, and put it into objective reality. So that's what this course is hopefully going to do. Bring Dune to the world, bring different synergies and different perspectives out. Who knows what it's going to create, but that is my goal here, because I know that no matter what, it is going to help the world. I'm here with the Spice Melange, everybody. I have a sample on my finger right here, and we are going to see its psychedelic effects. Okay. After 30 minutes, there had been no effects at all. I think Paul Atreides must have just been on a huge power trip, because
Spice extends life. Spice expands consciousness. Vital to space travel.
Jessica. Mama.
So what are you guys waiting for? Go join the course. It is located at thelitunderground.com/Dune-course, or you can click on the link in the description below. And when you get there, you're going to end up on this page. And this is the course info page where you'll learn everything that's happening in the course. And I'll be going over that later in the video. But for those who want to hop in right now, click join now for free. And then here is the sign up page. You're going to need to make an account, because I am going to be commenting on your essays. And once you sign up, you will have access to all the free courses on thelitunderground.com. Psychology courses, philosophy courses, literature, creative writing, all different types of courses in the humanities. And if you're hearing this a couple of years from now, there'll be hundreds of courses for you to access. So fill out your information and sign up. So here are some key details about the course. And this is an online course that is hosted by me. Once again, it is free. And I would say that this is an evolved college course, because first of all, it is going to be way longer. We are going to go much deeper. It is uncensored and it is free. You don't have to pay $1,000 to do it. You don't have to go anywhere. And it is, my hope is that I'm going to activate you to then be able to share content to the world. And that is my first key detail, that I would prefer essays, because I think that's a really great medium. But so at the end of each book, so let's say we're going to read Dune by Frank Herbert. At the end of that, if you want to pass the course, and if you pass the course, everybody, you get a credit for a lit university degree, which is going to comprise of a lot of credits. The lit university is my response to the modern degraded university system, where you cannot even read a book and get a degree. You can get an MFA in creative writing and not even have written a great sentence. Not even a great story, poem, or book. I know people who have gotten English degrees and haven't even read a book. They either, they would just look up summaries and write essays and do the assignments. There is no standard anymore. So this is something, the reason that the lit university I think is great is because it's comprised of people who actually care, people that want to be there. And there is no reward. Your parents, you don't get more money. Your parents aren't happy. Nothing happens at the end of this except that you will have explored a ton of great authors, because I plan to explore a ton of great series, books, authors. And like if I do an author series, for instance, like I'm going to do a Murakami series. We're going to cover every single one of his books in full in that series. In a college class, that doesn't happen. You don't have the time usually to cover all 16 books of an author. Very rarely, maybe in a graduate class, you can. So, I'm really trying to take this to the people, bring books and literature and online courses to the people. But I understand that maybe writing essays isn't your cup of tea. So if you guys want to, do a video presentation like this about a book, so let's say you need to talk about Dune. So you can maybe make a video about Dune, a long form video. Maybe you could do an art project where you have multiple pieces that you show me about Dune, or record a podcast about Dune, just audio only. So I'm hopefully going to give you guys multiple options for all of this. So at the end of this, like I said, we are trying to share information with the world, share Dune with the world from multiple perspectives. And that brings me to my next point, is that I would like to co-create this course with you. This is going to take me at least 6 months. So a lot of you guys maybe are going to be hearing this before I'm done, and you guys can give me feedback, maybe share some great ideas that you want me to share with others about Dune, things I'm missing. And if you give me permission to promote some of your stuff, if I think your stuff is cool and I watch it or read it, I'll be like, where is this posted? Can I post this? Can I repost this? Or can I promote this for you? And I really think that is going to be a great avenue to help share each other's work. And that's what I mean by co-create, that we can co-promote, co-create, and continue this, really bring Dune back to the people, man. This is the people's book. So here are the critical angles. So the other cool thing, as I've been talking about, is that we're going to be covering multiple critical angles. And the first critical angle that we're going to be covering is, and this doesn't really depict it, is just the general literary angle, that I am going to be discussing the plot, the setting, what is happening, just like what you would get probably in a normal English college course. We're going to be just discussing it on that level, just on the very surface level. And of course, with some nuances, and I'll be bringing in, meta theory and stuff, but that's what the other angles are really for. So the first actual angle that we're going to be bringing into this is the spiritual ecology angle. And spiritual ecology is our spiritual relationship with nature. And I actually have a whole course on this called the Spiritual Ecology course, available for free. And if you sign up, you'll get that course for free. But Dune has so much of this, and I haven't really said this, but I'm not going to be spoiling anything. We're going to be taking this chapter by chapter, book by book, and I'm not going to be giving anything away. But Dune, as you see, it has worms and all these different things, and there's a lot of spiritual elements to Dune that relate to nature. So we're going to be going over and tracking those. So in this course, I'm going to be bringing in a ton of schools of thought. Most of them, Frank Herbert probably never knew about or didn't intend that didn't influence Dune at all. But this is creative theory, everybody, and this is what I want you to do. This is how we spread Dune out. For instance, the next lens we're going to look at is the philosophical lens, and the main thing I want to do with the philosophical lens is just tracking characters' philosophical evolution, because philosophy gets so meta and it gets so bro-y, the philosophy bros, and people it's a very annoying thing, and people, the back and forth and the arguments. And like I said, do I think that Frank Herbert was trying to bring in a postmodern or Nietzschean, maybe a Nietzschean, but a postmodern philosophy into Dune? A little bit, but probably not. So we're, of course, going to be covering Nietzsche and German idealism, the Superman, and German idealisms, mostly Schelling and Hegel and their views of natural philosophy, more on Schelling's end. Then the Greeks, they always have to bring the Greeks in. Postmodernism in general, there's a lot of great postmodernist critiques of society and government and stuff and even of the text that will be very useful. Ethics, all the different ethical problems that the different houses go through, and even just certain characters. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a lot of, we'll have a lot of discussion about ethics, and then also Eastern philosophy, because something we do know is that Frank Herbert was influenced by Carl Jung and Eastern philosophy. Those are probably some of his main influences in the text. So, and I run a YouTube channel called Yogadelics, a website. I'm really into yoga and Eastern philosophy and Sanskrit, so of course I'm going to be bringing that in anyway. So we're also going to be doing psychology, and I really enjoy the psychoanalytical points of view, like the Carl Jung's archetypes of active imagination, because, spice trances could really be a form of active imagination. But we'll get into all that. I'm not going to be trying to spoil too much. A Ronkian perspective, Otto Ronk, very underappreciated and not very well-known psychoanalytical thinker. He was Freud's secretary, and who Freud called his best pupil. And, Carl Jung and Reich were also his pupils. And we're going to be, through the Ronkian perspective, looking at will therapy and artistic therapy by the characters. Then, of course, the Freudian perspective, I'm going to really limit that maybe to a little bit of Oedipus complex and superego, ego and id. Then a Reichian perspective of Wilhelm Reich. We're going to be looking at orgone, sexual release, and the healing through the body. Because we could look at these four, and this is what I could say. That Jungian, we heal through a Jungian perspective through the active imagination and tapping into the collective unconscious. The Ronkian through will therapy. Freudian maybe through maybe sexual therapy is not the right word, but just general therapy. And Reichian would be more of a body sexual therapy. And then we're also going to be looking at dream analysis, because dreams have a lot to do with the text. And I will be actually referencing who I think the greatest dream theorist is, Stephen Kaplan Williams, another underappreciated man. He has a great book called DreamWorks. I would check that out if you really want. And he's really a Jungian. So I guess he's really the best Jungian. I would just say the Jungian perspective on dreams is great, and he takes it to the next level. He LSDs Jung in terms of dreams. And, Jung went pretty far in terms of dreams. So then we're going to be looking at the politics. And then the main one it's at the bottom. It's just general house analysis and making sure we know what's happening in the house rivalries. But actually, Dune has a lot. Some people would argue, I think, probably the most popular viewpoint of Dune is the political angle. And for me, I'm going to be looking at it because, of course, we have the exploitation of the Fremen people, and we could, view that as an analogy to the Middle East. But I'm going to be looking at it through an anarchist, a socialist, an anarchist as in not like, the protesters on the street of today. I mean, more like a theoretical anarchism, Yeah, you guys will see, but not anarchism as in free of masters, not from free of laws, because that's what anarchism means. Anarcho and okay, I'm not even going to go there. Socialism. Obviously, I'm saying socialism because most critical theory has a basis in Marxism and socialism. And a lot of actually their society is very controlled in Dune. So there's a lot of potent material there. Of course, the power dynamics, which are part of postmodernist critique. Then the witches behind the curtain, the Bene Gesserit's political control. We could also maybe call them the Illuminati of Dune. And there's a lot of potent stuff here. And Frank Herbert was making a huge commentary. Frank Herbert was actually a political speechwriter for a Republican candidate for a long time, and really more, I think, erred on the conservative side, which you'd think is, as a writer like of his stature, most of the time they err more toward the liberal edge. But back in the 60s in Port Townsend, Washington, if you've ever been up there, that's not not Seattle. So then the occult. So then we are going to be checking out the occult of Dune and the Bene Gesserit's relation to the occult, how they use certain techniques to become more. And by the occult, I mean hidden from the eye. So occult is a combination between occultare and oculus, and it just should mean which means hidden. Or excuse me, occultare and spectare, or oculus and spectare. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oculus and spectare, I think. Okay. And oculus means eye, and oh my gosh, I'm losing it, everybody. It means hidden from the eye, everybody. It doesn't mean evil, nasty. It means hidden from sight. I got a C in all my Latin classes, man. So, shout out to, dude, I had this crazy Latin teacher. And I remember one time I did so bad. We only ever had 2 or 3 kids in our Latin class. And so it would be like really intimate. And, I just at that time was really just chiefing way too hard on the peace pipe. And, Latin was just going over my head. And this lady was crazy. She had literally just moved from Italy a week before, and she had a PhD in Latin, and her expectation was really high. And the other 2 kids in the class were like overachievers. And she thought that I was like, the biggest slacker. And I was like studying for hours a night. Anyway, I remember one time she just put her head down while I was like doing my oral examination because she was so disappointed in me. But later on, she gave me a half-ass apology, like, hey, I didn't know, like 2 years later she saw me and she was like, you actually were a pretty good student. But anyway, so we're going to be covering astrology, Kabbalah, tarot, and numerology. And though that is totally crazy. Dune has nothing to do with that, but we're going to bringing in talking about the certain dynamics, because astrology, Kabbalah, tarot, and numerology are really just archetypal analysis. They're really a guide to the human consciousness, a guide to human evolution. And I'm pretty well versed in those, and we'll be able to just be like, oh, Paul's going through this right now, or whatever. And then charting characters' path of spiritual ascension and dissension. A lot of characters in this book, have a huge spiritual rise and or fall. And I think that's a very potent lens. So who is this course for? I think this course is for people who finish, people who are committed and are going to be committed to going deeper into Dune, even if it's your first time. It doesn't matter where you're at. And by the end of this, like I said, if you do the content, you will have 6 short to medium form pieces and a long form piece in your hand. And you can, like I said, use that now, use that later, or hold on to that. That could just maybe be something that you have as a memory. But I hope that this will, entice you to do this and then maybe release that content out to the world, or maybe use this as a practice medium. If you've never done academic writing before, I have, I am a teacher. I am, someone who can help you with your writing. If you've never done video presentations before, I'll be able to give you some pointers. If you go watch my videos, I have videos from 5 years ago now. I wasn't talking like this. My presentations didn't look like this. They were grainy. The audio was off. I would stutter. I mean, they were, sometimes they were a mess. So, I get that too. I'm here to help you grow. I'm here to help, like I said, because I care about this content, to help spread it to the world. So that's who I think this course is for. Like, dabblers can come and watch and do all this, but to really get this out of the, really get what you want out of this course, you're also going to need to maybe read more than Dune, to maybe read a couple chapters out of some of these books. Like I'm going to be talking about Otto Rank and, Schelling, and about the tarot. And, you might need to go look at certain cards or experience some of these things, because everything that I'm giving you, I feel like, I've dedicated my life to literature and the humanities. I feel like this is very great content, and like I wouldn't give you guys anything that's bad. So like if you come along on this journey, I can guarantee that it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time, and you're going to, hopefully meet some people, and you'll be engaged to a whole new world, because this is, like I said, I'm covering all the bases here, and like this is a path, not just to understand literature, but for you to understand yourself deeper through the characters and through the text. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. And for any time in the future, just use the support form on the litunderground.com. It's under the about menu, and use that to email me any feedback, questions. If something's gone wrong in the course, let me know. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you guys in the course. Episode 1, chapters 1 through 5 is dropping very soon.